Okay, at this point, I think I'll get us started. So this is Ed Crow. I'm recording the webinar, so I can send it out to everybody. Thanks for joining today. We're going to talk about blogs today and how to make a blog that searches well. So before we get started, a few things. We do these webinars every Wednesday and Thursday, this week being an exception because we're not going to do one this Thursday. But we do them every Wednesday and Thursday at 1 o'clock on various topics. I know next week we're going to roll out some in prosperity blogs, kind of focusing on specific states where prosperity med subs are really cheap. But anyway, the topic is different every week. We do record all of these, so if you register for any of our webinars, I'm going to confuse webinar and blogs. I'm talking about blogs today. But anyway, if you register for any of our webinars and you can't make it, that's fine because we will send you the recording if you registered, so you'll get that, so no problem. If you have questions, send the questions into the webinar and I will answer them for you at the end. And I think other than that, that's kind of the house cleaning things. Other than that, we'll get started. For those who are just coming on now, this webinar should run about 20 minutes, maybe less. So we're going to talk about making a blog and how to make it so it searches well. So I'm going to go over the general idea of this, but before I do that, one thing I would say is I did a webinar on the January 27th that went over the general idea of blogging and how we use it to help our search results. So it kind of lays the groundwork for this whole thing. Today is more specific on how to make the actual blog. So if you missed the one on January 27th, you might find that helpful just because it gives the more generic idea here and how it all comes together and works. If you want, you can just call us and we will email that to you. Or if you want, you can go to youtube.com, Crow and Associates, and all our recorded webinars are up there. And then you can watch the one from the 27th, which again goes into kind of the generic details of having a website, making a blog, how you make it, the whole theory of how it makes search better and why we do it that way. I'm not going to get into that as much today. Today's more specific on the actual blog and making it work. So for the blog itself, and I will do a quick summary, long story short, blogs are a good and quick way to help search on a website. That's what we did with Crow and Associates. So and I'll give you some examples here in a minute, but if you check out Crow and Associates, or if you just Google search things, a lot of times Crow and Associates will come up on the first page, or a lot of times win. Like if you Google free Medicare lead program or a variety of different subjects that an agent might search, we win. And the way we did that is by using blogging to help our web traffic. We don't have a huge website. It didn't have a lot of pages. We don't have an IT team. We don't use an SEO company. For those of you thinking, maybe I'll get a website, and a couple things. If you think maybe you'll put up a website and it'll just pull search on its own, unfortunately it won't. It needs help to do that. Or if you're thinking I'll put up a website and I will use an SEO company to make my search results on Google, first page, it won't happen unless you give them substantial amounts of money every month. And sometimes it still won't happen. So this is a way that you can control your own destiny. Slowly over time, you can build a good online presence for your website using this strategy. And the nice thing is, if you want to do it on your own or have somebody in your office do it with you, you can do it at basically no cost. So that's kind of the draw and why I liked it and why we went down this road of using this method to increase our web traffic. So again, if you haven't watched the basic webinar on this topic, youtube.com, Crow and Associates, you can pull up the recorded webinar and it'll give you the basics. So for today, let's talk about the blog itself and what's important when making it. So the title, we're going to go over the best format for search. Talk about readability and helping the blog, by using other social media to boost it. I'm going to get pretty specific on you here. So again, I talked over my slide, unfortunately, a little bit. But what's great about blogs is you can do a lot of them. So you can add a number of blogs quickly. And every time you add a blog, if you need to have a tab on your website, for sales blogs or for Medicare blog or whatever you want to call it. But every time you do a new blog, that essentially is adding a page to your website, adding a page of content, of search content to your website. And the search engines put a lot of weight on site content, the amount of pages on your site. They pay a lot of attention to that. So to do this, it's pretty simple. You need a website and you need a blog editor. I wrote WordPress because that's what we use. I find WordPress the easiest. It's easy to add a WordPress blog editor to your site, to your blogging page. So that's when I say, but I know a lot of other people use different ones like Joomla and various ones. So whatever works for you is fine, but that's the general idea. When you're going to create blogs, the whole point here is a term that I didn't put on the slide, but it's called long-tailed keyword search. Long-tailed keyword search is a way that us as normal people can have good search results on Google. So the idea with this is you're going to make blog titles that match up exactly with what somebody would search online through a search engine, like Google, Explorer, Bing, if anybody actually uses Bing, Yahoo, those kind of things. So you're going to want your blogs, when you make them, you want to try to make them so if somebody goes into Google and they're Google searching something, you want that search, what they type in, to match exactly the title of your blog. And the people that do will give you a much better possibility to post well on a search result, first page in most cases, depending on how tough the topic is, though. So the longer the title, the easier it is to get good search results. So because if you think about it, if I was searching Medicare Advantage plans, that's nearly impossible because you're competing online with everybody, the government, all the carriers, every brokerage house, eHealth, all of them. But if you have a longer title like Medicare, like not Medicare, Medicare Agent Sarasota, but if I was trying to say Best Medicare Agent Sarasota, ignore my title down below. Best Medicare Agent Sarasota or Medicare Advantage Agent Sarasota, if you make the title longer, it's going to be easier to have good results on a search engine because it's searched less. So the good thing is, the longer the title, the better your results can be. The negative to a degree is the longer the title, the less it's searched. That exact title is searched. So, Medicare Advantage Agent Sarasota isn't going to be searched near as much as Medicare Advantage Agent, for example. But if you're making enough blogs, even though your title is searched a lot less than other titles might be, make enough blogs, that search will all add up and you'll get to the same result as if you had a good result on a really tough short search term. So when you're making the title of your blog, you want to shoot for 4 to 5 words on that title. It can be longer, it does hurt your search results a little, but it certainly shouldn't be shorter. 3-word blog titles are tough. You really want to go 4 to 5 words. And again, try to match it up with exactly what somebody is searching. You can always add a location to the end of it to make it more specific. So again, ignoring my typo here, Medicare Advantage Agent, but you throw Sarasota or the name of a town or a city or a location on there, it's going to be searched a lot less. There's going to be a lot less competition, but you can win doing that. So we'll use a recent blog that I did. Well, it's not that recent, but I did a while back, called Best Medicare FMO. If you look on there, we are the first. If you Google Best Medicare FMO, we're the first and third result on Google. Sometimes we're second and third. It's a little more competitive than most because it's only 3 words. But if I put Best Medicare FMO in a state, well, then I'll easily win on any search. There'll be less of them, but I'll be first result, non-paid ad on a Google search. Always when I talk about being first result, I'm talking about organically. Obviously, paid ads are going to get preference over organic search results, but hardly anybody clicks on a paid ad anymore, especially as the Medicare population, the people turning 65 now, they're a little more savvy and they know not to click on a paid ad. So important rules, and when I talk about these rules, the rules you should follow for every single blog you make. As a result, once you know the rules and the format, you'll be able to knock out blogs, good search blogs very quickly once you know the format and you're comfortable with it. So again, title of the blog should be 3 to 5 words. Longer is okay. It can hurt you if it gets too long. Shorter definitely is. You're not going to go anywhere with it. So you've got your blog title. Your first paragraph, you got to have a subject heading. And I'll give you a little example of this in a bit. But your first paragraph has a subject heading. So if my blog was Best Medicare FMO, that's the title of my blog. And then before I start my first paragraph, I have a subject. You should always break your paragraphs up every time with a subject. So my first subject is going to be the title of my blog again, Best Medicare FMO. Redundant, yes. Does it look kind of silly? Maybe. But it works. So every time you have a paragraph, remember, you need a subheading, a subject heading prior to that paragraph. So your first subject heading is going to be the exact name of your blog, and it's going to be a subject heading 2 on WordPress. It's very large, and it's going to match exactly with the title of your blog. Your first paragraph, then, the exact name of your blog, the title of it should be verbatim in the first paragraph. So you basically have your blog title, it says Best Medicare FMO, for example. The first subject heading in bold, subject heading 2 is going to say Best Medicare FMO. And then somewhere buried in my first paragraph, I'm going to have the term exactly Best Medicare FMO. It gets a little awkward if you have a longer blog title to fit it into the paragraph, but you need to. And again, you got to have a subheading before each paragraph. If you're using WordPress, your first heading would be subheading 2. The rest can be subheading 3s after that. So the blog length, the overall length of the blog when you do this thing, and your editor will keep track of the number of words, it should never be shorter than 300 words. Blogs shorter than 300 words get hurt on search. The search engines see that as a negative. Google more than any others, but 6% of people are using Google search. So never shorter than 300. More is fine. If you make a blog that's 1,000 words, that doesn't hurt you at all. That's great. It's more content, more words. That's fine. But shoot for around, if you're looking to be kind of efficient and just get as many quality blogs out as possible, always be around 300 words, but never one word less. Every blog should have inbound and outbound links. So just going to explain the difference a little. But the blog should have at least 2 of each. More is better, but 2 at a minimum. So your blog should have 2 outbound links, and it should have a minimum of 2 inbound links. So an inbound link would be a link, a hyperlink. So as you're going through your blog, you've got certain phrases hyperlinked. So when somebody clicks on those, it'll take them to another area, another website, your website, wherever. But an inbound link means it's going to something connected to you, either your website, another blog you made, maybe a YouTube video, a GoToWebinar video, something that is connected to the URL for your website that's inbound, that's considered inbound. So again, it can be another blog you made referencing, maybe if there's a term in there and you did a blog on that term, hyperlink to that blog, or if there's a page on your website that's really applicable, hyperlink to that page, but you need at least 2 inbound links. Outbound links, a lot of misunderstanding here, and I want to clear some things up. You got to have at least 2 outbound links. I'd recommend more. I'd recommend more of both, actually, but that's the minimum. And an outbound link is a link that links to another site, so a site not related to you at all. And you maybe look for words or phrases in there that you can easily link to, that words or phrases that people might want more explanation on that they don't understand. Don't be afraid to link to competition. And I gave an example here. If in my blog for Best Medicare FMO, I use the term MGA, Master General Agency, a lot of people don't know what that means. So I'll put a hyperlink on there. And I will link it. If I'm going to try to use an outbound link, I'll Google search MGA, and whoever comes up with the best search results, non-paid ad, best organic search result, I'll hyperlink to them, even if it's my competition. And I know what you're thinking, well, I don't want to make a hyperlink in my blog that somebody will click on it and it takes me to their competition. Well, don't worry. People rarely click on the hyperlinks in blogs. It's like 2% of people that read an article online actually click the hyperlink. So I wouldn't put too much stock in that, but really there's more value in the fact that you're linking to a really well-optimized page. whether it be a blog, a website, whatever it is. So don't be afraid. If it's competition, don't worry about it. Feel free to use them in your hyperlink. If you don't want to use your competition, then just take the next best search result. When you Google MGA, for example, number one result is your competition, but the second or third or fourth one isn't. Use that one then if you want. Never hyperlink to paid ads. That will hurt your search. So stay away from paid ads. Okay, so a couple other just random things, but things that are important that you need to know when you're setting this up. Never link the title of your blog at any point. So if my blog is called Best Medicare FMO, I don't want to hyperlink Best Medicare FMO because I'm then hyperlinking to my own title. You can't do that. So somewhere in my blog, in other areas, like in my first paragraph or in my subheadings, it says Best Medicare FMO. I never want to hyperlink that. Hyperlink anything else. If in there I'm talking about Medicare Advantage, I can hyperlink to that. If I mention MGA, hyperlink to that. If I mention max allowable CMS compensation, hyperlink to that. I do. I have a blog on max allowable compensation by CMS, and I link to that, but never link to your own title. Never use the same blog title twice. That's very tempting. Sometimes, for example, if I do Medicare Advantage Commissions 2021, or if I did one Medicare Advantage Commissions, well, the following year I might want to make another blog, Medicare Advantage Commissions, but I can't. You can't use the same title. It's got to be a little bit different. That will hurt you. So in that instance, what I would do is Medicare Advantage Commissions 2022. That would be the title of my blog. This would be different. Make sure you have an image on your blog. A couple things with the image. It doesn't really have to relate to your blog at all. If it's just a funny picture, you can put it up there. I mean, if it's got some kind of, even if it's a stretch, some kind of relation to what you're talking about, I mean, that's better. But you can put any image up. And when you use a blog editor, it's going to ask what's the title of the image. The title should be the exact title of your blog. Never different. Be careful with images. There's some companies out there, I won't mention them because I don't want them to sue me, but there's some companies out there that have images that look like they're free, but you got to read the fine print. So be careful of just grabbing random images off the internet and putting them up on your blogs or websites. Better to pay a service a small amount of money to use their images, or find a site that specifically says our images are free and, read the fine print on that. I found that out the hard way. I've been caught in that a few times where you go online and you look at free images, but then underneath it says free to those who have a membership, and then when you put it on your site, they sue you. So you just got to be careful with images. People ask me a lot if videos are good. Yes, videos are great. Oh, and I've had a bunch of new people come on. Two things. I will record this and send it out, and I will answer questions at the end for you. So just so you're aware. So videos are great. If you've got links in your blog, you hyperlink to certain terms, or maybe just have a link that says click here for a video, or once you get to use your editor enough, you'll realize you can make an actual image of the video so they can just click play on it. Adding videos are a good thing. Maybe it's videos you did on YouTube. Maybe it's a video from another blog, whatever it may be. It helps with the video. You don't have to do them, but it certainly doesn't hurt. Definitely, I'm giving you these tips, but definitely use an SEO Analyzer. For example, WordPress comes with one. An SEO Analyzer, just when you make your blog, it gives you 16 categories and says, okay, you're either red, meaning you're bad, yellow is okay, or green, great, in these 16 categories with your blog. And it kind of spell out for you, hey, you've got your paragraphs are too long, or your blog is too complicated. It's too advanced with the terminology you're using. But anyway, it'll give you all the categories to let you know that you're making a solid blog that will search the best it can when all your categories are green. We don't do blogs unless they're green in every category on the SEO Analyzer. And most blog editors have one. WordPress, like I said, comes with one. Most have one. Joomla has one, I know for sure, a couple others. Don't copy content from other blogs when making a blog. It's tempting. You make a blog on a title, you're like, oh, geez, I don't really know a lot about this topic. Let me just copy and paste and dump it in. Well, you can do that, but you better change everything around. Not just from a liability standpoint, but the search engines, they're smart enough to see it. They're very advanced. So if your words are the same as somebody else's blog for a long enough stretch throughout the blog, they're going to see it and they're going to immediately discredit your article. In search result wise, it's just not going to show up. So if you certainly take inspiration from other websites, blogs, information, but just turn it into your own with the wording, as opposed to just copying and pasting it in. That won't work long term. So you make a good blog on your site. You're making a bunch of them. Starts to search fairly well. That's great, but you should have some kind of call to action. Granted, or admittedly, I get a little lazy, and sometimes I don't have a call to action on mine. But really, I recommend having one on all of them. That just means you go through a topic, and then at the end, maybe you've got some links to other topics people would want to learn about that are affiliated. Like if I did my free Medicare lead program blog, for example, then I'll maybe have a link to our Medicare T65 seminar program or something that they can click on to continue kind of learning in the same vein that they were interested in, the same reason they clicked on my blog, my page in the first place. Maybe you can have a link to a landing page. Maybe it's a data capture page where you're trying to get their contact information, maybe to another blog, maybe your website, or maybe to a seminar you're having, something, okay? One of the most annoying things with this is you got to update old blogs periodically. They will become dated. In my field, I do blogs for Crone Associates for recruiting agents. Stuff becomes dated year over year. So you can do one of two things or a combination of both. You just go back and update the old blogs, you edit them and update them. I think the better way to go is to go into an old blog, make a new updated blog with a different title. It's got to have a different title, at least have the year different on it. So if I did, again, Medicare Advantage Commissions 2021, and now it's dated, I made a new one called Medicare Advantage Commissions 2022. And when you click on the 2021 blog, it says, this blog's been updated. Click here for updated information, hyperlink, and routes them right to the new one. If you don't want to do that, just make sure you go back and update your old ones. But I think from a search standpoint and content standpoint, it's better to make a new one. Readability is the thing I struggle with the most. So when you make a blog, it's the SEO search, and you got the SEO Analyzer to make sure you're doing well. It's kind of what I've given you with these rules. But there's also the readability aspect. So engines rank on readability. It's not what you would think. When I was first making blogs, I thought I have to sound like I'm intelligent, so a big facade, and sound like I'm, have this big vocabulary. They actually don't want that. A good blog, the best for search, is about an 8th grade reading level, believe it or not. So keep that in mind when you're making them. 8th grade reading level is best for readability. You need to use transition words. I didn't even know what that was when I started blogging. But lo and behold, you can look it up. And you want to use transition words. Examples are as a result, in conclusion, likewise, further, for example. Those are transition phrases or words. You want to try to shoot for at least 20%, no more than 30%, no less than 20%, of your sentences to have a transition phrase in them. Very difficult for somebody like me to do. But if I can do it, you can. Here's the biggest ongoing struggle for me. Avoid past tense. Everything I do is past tense when I write. I'm a terrible writer. They will hurt you for doing that on readability. You really don't want more than 10% of your sentences to be in past tense. You want to be in current or future tense. So I won't even go into that because I struggle with it so bad myself. But again, same thing. My WordPress comes with a readability analyzer, and it'll say, hey, Ed, you dope. 30% of your sentences are past tense. That's no good. It'll be red. So I have to go back and try to make them current or future tense. Keep your sentences short. Shorter the sentences, the better. Remember, 8th grade reading level, right? You don't want big, complex run-on sentences. Keep them short. use big words sparingly. So you don't want to, impress everybody with your massive, encyclopedia-like vocabulary. You really want to keep it simple. The search engines are looking for a blog that anybody could read and understand. So no need to use big words. If you got to throw one in here and there, can't help yourself, that's fine. But certainly don't make it a habit. Avoid consecutive sentences. So that just simply means sentences that start with the same word over and over. And that can happen sometimes. Maybe you're making a blog and you got a list down through and it says Medicare Advantage rates Connecticut, Medicare Advantage rates New York, Medicare Advantage. Well, it keeps saying the same thing consecutively. You want to change it around and you don't want consecutive sentences. Overall thoughts with this. When it comes to blog titles, people say a lot, well, hey, Ed, how do I know if anybody's searching this long-tailed keyword title at all? Is anybody out there in the world searching for, United American High Deductible G enhanced compensation, for example? Well, you can find out. You can use the Google Keyword Planner. It's free. In simple explanation, because it's pretty simple, you just type in phrases and it'll tell you how many times those exact phrases have been searched over the last month. You'll see some that have been searched 100,000 times or more in a month. You can make a blog using that title, but you're not going to win. We're not going to win. What I would say is, your sweet spot maybe are blog titles that have been searched 10 to 100 times a month. Just make a lot of them. Because 10 to 100 is less competition, less people trying to compete to win on that phrase. So that's a good thing. But the Google Keyword Planner will show that to you. And pathetically, I sit up at night sometimes thinking of things people are searching and thinking of different titles and then checking the Google Keyword Planner to see how often those titles are searched. Stick with the blog. If you're going to do this, stick with it in blog consistently. They're also looking for consistency. Maybe you dedicate yourself to making a blog a week. Maybe you make 2 a week. If you do what I did in my office, I taught my employees how to blog. So the people who work here, and they're actually kind of better at them than I am now, but it's pretty easy to teach how to do it once they got the hang of it. Now all 3 of us do blogs, so we're putting blogs on, new blogs up every week. But it's one of those things where you can do it yourself or you can teach somebody else how to do it. You can even hire a part-time person if you wanted, or a full-time person, teach them. And once they know the format, they can be your person who's blogging. It's pretty easy to do once you get the hang of it. As you do that, if you consistently post new content, over time you'll start to rank on search engines, and over time you'll start to get inquiries from people who Google search on some search engine, and you come up first, and they will call you, email you, but it'll take some time. Take some time because your website needs to build content, and every time you make a new blog, that essentially is adding another page and it's building content. Search engines look for a lot of content on a site, so that's another reason to blog consistently. Remember your call to action. You really want to have a call to action on every blog if you could. And when you make a new blog, something that I'm terrible at, just remember to post it on social media. I'm pathetic when it comes to my presence on Facebook and LinkedIn. I know how to do it. I just haven't. But, do as I guess, I'm going to try to say to don't use me as an example for that when it comes to that. So every time you make a new blog, make sure you post that. So you make a new blog title, take that link, put the hyperlink for that blog in social media, whether that be on Facebook, whether it be on LinkedIn, whatever it is, send that out, get in the habit of it. It will help it from a search result. If you're doing mass emails, you make a new blog, make sure you email that out in a mass email as well. Just get the blog in there, whatever topic you're talking about on the email. You can say, hey, you can learn more about this topic by clicking here, or did you ever want to learn about this? And put your blog title link in there. So overall, I do provide training to agents and agencies, on how to build up search using their website, using blogs. For agents that want to get a local presence online, it is doable. It takes some time. If you're an agent thinking you want to get a local presence nationally in the Medicare space, my honest opinion is not doable. Getting one locally is. So, if you want to get presence for your state, very doable. Nationally, probably not going to happen. Agencies, I certainly will train on this. This is a great way to recruit agents. Great way. So it's a great way to get new clients. It's a great way to recruit agents. It can be a powerful recruiting tool for agencies for sure. For an example of how we do this, if you Google free Medicare lead program, you'll see after the paid ads, we're the first result on Google. So free Medicare lead program, that's searched about 100 to 200 times a month. But we certainly get a lot of calls from it because it's the first thing that comes up after the paid ads. Okay, I talked a lot. Let's see if we have any questions. And am I smart enough to access them? I'm going to try, guys. Let's see. Here we go. Okay, question. Should we clean up old blogs when we put newer versions up? For example, Medicare commissions versus Medicare commissions 2022, or is it better for your search results to leave all the blogs up regardless of when they were posted? Yeah, never take blogs down. So really the only two things you should be doing is either updating an old one or putting a link to a new one in the old one. Never pull them down, that's bad. But to answer your question, if you've got an old blog, yes, you could either update it, that would be fine, but I think it's probably better just to make a new updated one. And the first thing on your old one when people click on it is, this blog's been updated, click here for updated information, and have it route them to the new one. Really good question. Any blog topics you suggest we avoid for compliance reasons? Yeah. When it comes to the Medicare space, if you're getting into plans, I would avoid being plan specific. So, you can blog with Medicare on absolutely anything. P65, the drug help programs, the link to use for delayed Part B, the Medicare What's Covered app. I mean, all the rules we take for granted with Medicare now, you could make every one of those things a blog topic. Where you might get in trouble is, and I would stay away from, is getting plan specific. I mean, if you want to talk about Advantage plans, it's fine. Supplements, great. Plan G, Plan N, dental, vision, and Advantage. I would just not point out specific plans and put their benefits up online. That could get you in trouble. And do not put the AARP logo anywhere on a blog. Can you use abbreviations like Huntington Beach, HB? Well, it depends. It depends if anybody's searching that. So abbreviations are great if it's getting any search. And I would use the Google Keyword Finder to see if, when you come up with your title with an abbreviation in it, is it getting any search results at all? I mean, if you have too much of an abbreviation that's not well known, maybe nobody's searching that. So, but if they are, certainly it's fine. It's really a matter of just matching up with whatever people search for. When will you provide additional training to agents? I just do it agent specific. So something like this is very specific. So agents and agencies that work with me, I'll sit down with them, we'll go through it, and we'll work on a plan with them. But it's really a specific thing. I'll certainly do more webinars like this one where I go over, ideas of how to do this and generically. But I mean, really, if you want to get down to the nitty gritty and the detail, that probably takes a one-on-one session to just fine tune it. Let's see if we have any other questions. I think that's it. Okay, well, I appreciate everybody coming on today. If you have any questions, feel free to give us a call. Would be happy to discuss details with you. We've been sending emails out. I don't know if you saw, but Pinnacle is having a sales summit, and it's going to have speakers. I'll be one of them, a little bit begrudgingly, but that's in March. For those of you, if you haven't seen the email, we'll send you the details. It's just a 2-day thing, kind kind of some cocktail hour the night before. It's in King of Prussia, and then the next day it's just all the speakers and topics. I think it'll be pretty informative for those who want to attend. If you have any questions about that, give us a call. One more question: how do we get an appointment on a one-on-one training? Again, you just call us up. Call us, talk to us. We can set it up. If anybody who's works with us with their Medicare contracts, I'd be happy to help them out. So no problem at all. Other than that, I think we're done. I appreciate you coming on today. No webinar tomorrow, remember. Our next one will be next Wednesday. Thanks, and I hope everybody has a great day, and we will send the recording out to everybody who registered. Thanks.